I'm going to do this now instead of later because he complained about how we talk after we do the put-ups. So I'm going to just do this now, I guess, even though you're going to have to edit it out later. I was reading something about something and someone said a thing.
Already a great story.
I have come on a mission of gravest consequence. For I am the Watcher, member of an ancient race far older than man. But though our power is great, we are pledged only to watch, never to interfere. But now mankind faces the greatest danger it has ever known. The danger of
the Watchers of Earth. 199,999.
Welcome to the Watchers of Earth 199,999. I'm your host, Andrew, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Seth.
As always.
Our third co-host, Joe, couldn't be here today because he's busy taxiing God around. And our fourth co-host, Uatu, is here, but is sworn only to watch and never interfere.
So today we watched episode 6 of Moon Knight, Gods and Monsters, which originally aired May 4th, 2022, on Kirsten's birthday. Written by Jeremy Slatter, Danielle Iman, Doug Moenchi, and directed by a bunch of other people. As Moon Knight joins the fray, Andrew, Mark, Stephen, and Khonshu must work together to stop Ammit. Andrew, in a sentence or less, what did you think? I was going to make a bit about how we watched Doctor Strange because it came out and Marvel was forcing everyone to watch Doctor Strange because otherwise they're going to revoke people's privileges of, living. And then I workshopped it at work today, whatever. In essential, what did you think of Moon Knight, Gods and Monsters, Episode 6, Season 1 of 12? Aren't you glad it's the series finale? Or no, the season finale. Anyways, what did you think in a sentence or less?
Either make a movie or make a series. This miniseries stuff isn't cutting it. It's got too much going on that it's not dealing with. So either cut all that extraneous shit out and just make a fucking too long movie, or make a full series that I guess also doesn't get to, but it has a million ideas. It doesn't deal with any of them. It's a sloppy mess. I think this episode in and of itself is the most fun. I liked a lot of it. I actually have 2 very clear put-ups in there. I was actually weighing a couple others, but I don't know. I did not think this was a good series. What did you think?
I feel very similar, and watching this, for some reason, I had it in my brain that this was a longer episode, but it's the shorter one. But maybe it's because they're all 45 minutes, and when I heard it was the shortest, I thought the others weren't an hour, were they? But it felt really fast, which I guess was good.
It's good for someone who doesn't want to deal with it, but it's not good from a narrative standpoint.
I agree, and we've been saying this for a while. It's very messy. I think it's hastily wrapped up. Like you were saying, and I was going to call you out on it because you hate series. You just want mini-series, like a season, and you're like, either give me 5
yes.
Give me 5
literally
seasons.
a day ago. Hard cut here. We're just going to get into discussion. Literally, yesterday, I sent out a tweet that was no more seasons, miniseries only. And I guess I still stand by that. I don't want more seasons of this. And there's a weird middle ground thing where Oscar Isaacs was saying, there's no plans for more seasons. But, there's no way they're not going to do more Moon Knight, but he might get a movie. He might. But, this isn't a thing where I need more seasons. That would piss me off. This is make a longer season that deals with all the shit you're throwing in here. It pats itself on the back at the end in a way that I found really, really aggravating.
I think there's going to be more seasons. And I think it's weird to say, nothing has gotten a second season, right? In Marvel shows?
Loki and What If?
Loki and What If. But my problem with this last episode, and I remember saying something about an article about Paul Feig saying that he was going to be, Moon Knight was going to be in the MCU proper or whatever. And this felt like a season.
I agree.
No. So let me finish my thing before you agree with what I don't mean. These 6 episodes, I'm not satisfied in a completed season thing.
Honestly, the only thing that makes it feel like a season to me is the post-credits thing that goes like, we're not done. There's still something happening.
You mean that makes it a series?
What's that?
You said it made it seem like a season.
Oh, yeah. Because, like, the bit at the end feels like, here's our tag for season 2. Even though that could just be like, here's our explanation for how he shows up in a movie later. But that felt like the most, like, another season could be coming, even though there's been no announcement. And like I said, it could just be an explanation for how he shows up in
this last
something
episode,
later.
like, you have Layla's whole superhero shtick. You have, like, I feel like there's so much that I am not convinced that they didn't write season 1 as kind of like, and here's our foray into Moon Knight. And maybe that's just the pessimism and jadedness in me, but it reminded me of like when they, after Spider-Man No Way Home, when they said, and now his origin story is told, and we can start getting into the real Spider-Man movies. That's how I feel with this, where I'm just like, okay, now we finished the 6-episode origin story, now we can get to the real Moon Knight stuff. And I don't know if it's because this felt very, like I said, hastily put together, but things just kind of felt like they happened in this episode, and it was hard to not think of it as, like, setup.
Mine is less setup, because I do feel like up until that last bit, there are stuff that is like, that happens, and you're just supposed to take it, but I don't take that as setup. I take that as poor writing, or at least not fleshing out your ideas, just throwing your ideas out there and expecting everybody to roll with it. Because up until the post-credits thing, it kind of wraps itself up in like a neat little obnoxious bow.
I mean, even I'll give the post-credit sequence, I don't think it's that much different than the rest of the episode in wrapping things up.
Everything else I feel like ends on a conclusion.
Like, you sit there and
where
you say,
I feel like the writers could say that everything before that moment could be like, and now we're done. We cleaned up our little bubble. He's not Moon Knight anymore. You know, he and Mark are palsy wowsy. Everything's clean and done.
See, it's funny. You look at, like, John Lockley as the kicker, and I think of Layla as the kicker.
I guess how so? She says it's a temporary deal to become a superhero. I guess she has a weird moment where the girl's like, are you an Egyptian superhero? And she says, I am. But like, in the end, like, I don't need anything more on her. Not that
I don't need to
not
either,
to say
but
that I
people
don't
will.
think she just, sure, but people are going to want more Moon Knight. I'm just saying, like, for what it is, she has her superhero bit to do her action scene. Like, her thing, if we get another season, she is going to be a superhero. But where it stands right now, her thing feels no different to me than Gwyneth Paltrow getting superpowers at the end of Iron Man, whichever the one that was.
Remember when Gwyneth Paltrow got superpowers? That was stupid.
You know, they're like, she's got superpowers. Look at her do her fun little flip. And then at the end, they're like, and then Tony Stark saved her. We're done with that. She doesn't have superpowers anymore. Goodbye. That's what this felt like, where it was just like, she's here to do the fun fight scene, and then we don't have to show it, but it is assumed that she is not doing that anymore, especially since before she does it, she says, like, it's a temporary thing.
Yeah, but people love superheroes.
Again, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but I don't feel like that's what's happening in that scene. Like, for all intents and purposes, the information given is that that's done with. There's no stinger. There's no hook to her. It's just like, she did her superhero thing, and then she's not doing it again.
See, and I guess I feel like that with John Lockley, because he kills Harrow. You wrap up the series before the credits, and you say, oh, we can't kill Harrow. You're going to have to do it yourself. And then it's like, oh, we're just going to let Harrow go? And he's going to, like, we got to resolve the thing. Like, Harrow could be out there at any time and on it and stuff like.
I think we're like.
Like I said, we agree on the same.
I think we're having one of those arguments that I don't want to get into, because I don't like trying to figure out exactly where we're divisive, because I think we're in agreement.
We
I
are,
think it's
just on
like,
different parts.
I think it's like the specific bits of everything. Like, I agree with you. That wraps up Harrow's shit. But Lockley is still like the avatar of Khonshu. Again, this is, I guess, your assumption that Layla would still be a superhero, and my assumption that it says it's temporary, so it's a temporary. Like, I would think Khonshu says, like, Mark doesn't know how fucked up he is, and Khonshu is still going to be Moon Knighting through this Jack personality. That felt like the hook of, like, Moon Knight is still there and we're still going. Not like, and now we've wrapped up Harrow. You were all wondering about Harrow. And then Khonshu did that, and he's never going to bother the Spectres again. He's done. He's not done, but it doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there.
That's why. You're saying that if a series 2 happened, then Layla would certainly be a superhero. And I'm just like, if a series 2 happened, Mark and Steven would be also a superhero.
Yeah, they would. But your explanation for how he could do this deal and be like, okay, you guys are free from me, would be Jack. And then the next season would be like both of them realizing that they're still out moonlighting.
Moonlighting.
Heyo.
Yeah.
That was what I was going for. I like how you
Was it really?
a little, like, yeah.
I thought I was the smart one.
No, it's good.
Anyways, no,
Just-
we're agreeing about the same thing, just at different points.
Point is, this episode is a big
This
sloppy,
season
stupid
is a
mess.
big slosh and mess.
Sloshing?
Isn't that what you said? I interrupted you before
I said sloppy stupid.
sloppy sloshing. And that probably doesn't help how this feels at the end of just like why it makes me feel like it's a setup show, because nothing makes sense at all.
I guess that's just where I am on that, is my pessimism. I think this show has been poorly written from the start, and poorly executed, poorly constructed. So at the end, I agree that there's a lot of like dangling threads, but I feel like that is bad writing, not so much like those are our hooks for the next season.
No, I think they can be both. I mean, I think they're both. And I think that's my pessimism. Like you said, like Layla's story is done. The show hasn't done anything to tell me that it's different. And I'm like, you're not wrong, but it's money. And you sit there and you go, you're not wrong, but why can't they just write a show? And then we both go, money.
I guess my thing with that is like the Layla thing, whatever. There is explanation within the show for what's going on with her. There's explanation for a couple things. Like, my thing is just like all the crap that it throws in there, the multiple personalities, the weird afterlife shit, the weird psych ward thing where after Khonshu's like says I release you, and then they're back in the psych ward where they have to like, we waste 2 minutes of screen time of them like realizing that they're in control of their own lives or something. That's like all nonsense bullshit. And if that was the show from the start, if the show was them constantly doubting their reality, but it felt like it wanted to throw in one more gotcha where they're like, ooh, maybe this was all just a dream.
That's
no,
exactly
it fucking
what they
wasn't.
wanted
I'm
to
not
do.
stupid. It's Moon Knight. It's a Moon Knight show in the MCU. It's not a fucking dream. I'm not an idiot. And it's like a waste of my time. And that's what like everything feels like.
Like we said the other episode, like start it with Mark getting shot and then go to the psych ward so that you sit there and you go, okay, well, like, what's real? Because, you know, like you said before, we spent 4 hours with Mark doing real life things, and then you can't just be like, whoa, look at this.
Again, if the show did that from the beginning with the psych ward,
Yeah.
I could believe that more.
That's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
I would know in the end that Moon Knight is a real superhero, but I could follow the show and be like, I don't know, maybe the show's doing a weird thing where, you know,
It's sitcoms.
he actually is in a psych ward.
Yeah.
Or maybe he is in a psych ward, but he is a superhero. Like, maybe it's not like the superhero stuff's in his head. Maybe he's in the psych ward because of the superhero stuff.
Or even just like, I noticed here, I do not have a long-standing history of Moon Knight, and so my impression of him could be different than the reality of him.
Well, give it to me right now.
I always thought he was more...
He doesn't sound like that at all. That was a terrible impression.
Oh, sorry. What about this? I'm a little British chav. Is that more what you thought?
Yep. Perfect.
So anyway, I was thinking about maybe Moon Knight was a little more street level. But there's like so much magic here, which I don't mind the magic. It's just something, and I know, I mean, you're going to have magic when you have like an Egyptian god controlling a dude. But I always felt like Moon Knight was more on the lines of like, I mean, like Daredevil, Luke Cage, and the other Unmatched box. This makes him feel very large. And he's very powerful. He's very...
Which, to be fair, that's the MCU in general. But he feels like even big for the MCU.
And see, I think something that could be cool is, you know, if you tell a story and put the hospital at the beginning and you say, okay, like, you know, you can sit there and say, well, obviously the Moon Knight stuff's real. But like, is the magic Moon Knight stuff? Like, is he street level? He's doing street level things, but there's like big grandiose magic going, like, is that real? Like, he's Moon Knight, but, you know, how much of this? And I think you can do a lot with that. But it was just really kind of disappointing. And you know how much I just inherently hate nighttime fight scenes. But it was really disappointing to sit there and be like, he feels really powerful. And way more than I would like.
Well, he's functionally immortal, too.
Right.
Which I think I mentioned in an earlier episode. Like, it's kind of fine, but it also, like, removes a lot of threat. When you know that, like, the only time there was any actual threat to him was when...
Khonshu was imprisoned.
Yeah, when Khonshu was imprisoned and he had no more powers. But then, like, I was really thinking, it really hit home with me when Khonshu, like, comes back and then you watch the bullets, like, pop out of his chest and land on the ground. And I was like, oh yeah, he's, like, fucking immortal. And that's fine, but it's also just, like, I have always, like you, Moon Knight has always been a street-level hero. I know that there's God stuff happening, and he does have powers, but he uses gadgets, he has a jet, like he throws those little moon battering things. And like in this, he uses his grappling hook for a second, and I was like, why the fuck does he have a grappling hook? Khonshu made him fucking fly.
Khonshu turned him into a fucking missile. And he flew around like Iron Man. I mean...
And I was just thinking, like, why would he have a grappling
Because his
hook.
comic
Like, it's
book
cool to
has
see
a
it.
grappling hook.
But yeah, but like, why would this Moon Knight have it? And it's just like, it's just weird, and I don't really care for it. Like, I thought it was like a cool visual when they like switch suits in the middle of the fight, but like,
Why?
I think that's kind of boring. I don't like his weird like magical girl transformation. I don't
understand when Steven learned to fight.
when they became palsy wowsies.
But how I don't understand it.
I don't understand how you don't understand that. They became pals, Seth.
But
No, remember when they were in the sand and then they hugged.
can you
And
believe
they held the one heart together?
Hey, can we talk about this? Can you believe that the hospital was not real? And Mark Spector didn't die? This is crazy,
What?
right?
This is
Like, that's
fucking
absolutely crazy, right? I was 100% certain that Mark died, and it was all a dream. And in the dream,
Such a fucking waste of my time.
Steven was turned into Sandman.
How about at the end when they do the stupid switcheroo and they're like, you're actually in the psych ward. And then they're like, never mind, no, you're not, because we can see your feet are bleeding and not like we fucking lived through a bunch of shit. And then they're like, you're right, you done got us. We couldn't pull the wool over your eyes. And then they wake up in bed and they're like chained to the bed. And I was like, when did they get in the bed? Like, who chained their leg to the bed? That implies that like the whole thing never actually happened, which I thought was trying to go even further with the bullshit. But I honestly think they just wanted the funny bit where he falls down because his leg is hooked to the thing, and they don't want anyone to think about how their leg got chained to the bed, because it can't be Jack who did it, or whatever the hell the third personality is, because he wouldn't want to draw attention to himself.
I don't think you understand that it's like poetry. It's like it rhymes at the beginning of the series.
I think they literally just wanted to have a scene where he walks out of bed and then they fall on their face.
That's because that's what happened in the first episode. We're right back where we started from.
And they want absolutely nobody to think about how they got home, how they got back in bed, why
They don't want
how
anybody to
their
think
leg
about
got chained to
anything
it.
in the show. None of it, like...
I know. All of the other gods have like completely different rules. Khonshu has an avatar that he never inhabits the body of, except when he's on trial. Never. Everyone else inhabits the body, and they're all fully that god. Except for, I guess, Layla. She's inhabited, like, whatever the goddess's name is.
Taweret.
Taweret? She inhabits her body, but then Layla's fully in control once they get all super powered up. But like the other gods, they're just the gods in meat suits. But then like Harrow's able to fight them all for some reason. And then when Khonshu's back and he's like, I don't have an avatar, but I can like rock'em sock'em fight this giant alligator lady in this pyramid. And I was like, why didn't the other gods pop out of their bodies and fight literally anybody? Why is she able to wander around?
The whole series is what is happening. None of this makes sense.
They have to hold their trial with their avatars so that they can speak. But then later on for this fight, Amit and Khonshu can just like walk around. She doesn't even have an avatar. She has to convince Harrow to let her use him as the avatar.
Okay, we talked about this a little bit earlier when they had the Eye of Horus or whatever, and we were like, oh, the tongue, they have to speak through the tongue. What does an avatar mean? Because
whatever
Amit,
they want.
Can Egyptian...
Why does Layla have a bird suit when she's the hippo-themed goddess?
Why does Layla see Khonshu?
I was wondering that, and I just went, I don't care. Apparently everybody can see anybody, because everybody can see Amit.
And that's kind of where I'm at, where it's just like, none of this makes sense.
I think the rules of this episode are if you're in that pyramid, you can see the gods. The gods can walk around in that pyramid.
That's like a powerful
But that is
chamber.
not the rule. That is not the rule of that pyramid in the only other episode where we see it.
How does Layla know what Khonshu's little Ebshi is? Ushepti.
Oh, it's a little thing? I mean, I assume she knows what Khonshu is.
I mean,
he's a bird god.
well, Egypt has like a bunch of bird gods.
I know, but
And in like
the first two
hieroglyphics,
she looked at,
they're like real different.
I don't know what to tell you. She found it because we needed.
I would have
to
just
move
smashed
the,
them all. Like, I'm in the fucking Legends of the Hidden Temple and I'm like smashing the...
How did Layla's like, hey, help me do this weird spell we got to do. I know the spell. She specifically calls out, I know the spell we need to do. But then Mark just knows it too. He knows exactly what to do and what to say. And then she's like, we got to the only way to stop Amit is to put her in a vessel. So this is what we got to do. And I guess she was just like, we'll put her in the vessel and then I guess she'll be powerless, which makes no sense whatsoever because every other god seems to need a vessel to do anything, but her rules are completely different. So fine, whatever. She put her in a vessel and she'll be powerless. But I assumed that it was like, I thought she said like, that's how we can kill her. I'm 90% certain she says, if she's in a vessel, we can kill her. But then once Khonshu is like, Mark, kill her, stab him, kill them both. Then Layla's like, you have a choice, Mark. Don't do this. And I was like, this was your idea. You told him.
Well, when Mark died, Conchu didn't die.
But now we need to have a moment where he's like the superhero who says like, I don't do the killings, even though all the Marvel superheroes do the killings. Every Marvel superhero has done a murder.
When Mark died...
Every single one of them.
When Mark died, Conchu didn't die. Why would Amit die when Harrow dies?
Because Conchu was not in his body. Because Conchu is the only god that doesn't follow the rule of inhabiting a body. Because before that moment, before Amit goes into Harrow, she is doing exactly what Conchu's doing. She has an avatar who has the power that she grants, but she is not physically in him. Just like Conchu is not in Mark.
How do we know that?
How do we know that? I don't know. Context. Like, I don't think this is, like, these are all, like, not explained. But, like, I don't know, context. Every other god that we see inhabits a body. Even Layla gets.
Yeah, that's what
her
I'm
body
saying. Like,
inhabited.
why would we assume?
We
Conchu's
know that that's
different?
not what happened because we see Conchu is never in Mark's body, and the only time it happens, it is in an episode that it is called out that it has happened for the first time with Mark.
I guess so.
He does not know what it's like to have Conchu in his body.
I guess I must have just glazed.
I mean,
over.
credit where the credit's due. The show gives that information. I don't think it's eloquently put.
No, I must have just glazed over because at the beginning, like in the first episode, when you see Conchu, I always just thought like, yeah, Conchu's like he's his avatar, he's inhabiting his body, so like that's why he can see him, and because it's a show, this is how we.
Oh, how we visualize that? I think there's reason to assume that up until we get further information with the
That's
other
fine.
gods and the trial. But like, also,
Even though that was all different than the Conchu information.
I mean, every bit of information is different.
It's all
I'm going off of what
Maybe
I got
that's
here,
the
man.
psychological aspect of the show.
But like, also, like, how did Harrow? I thought Harrow was Amit's avatar, but he was not. He was not her avatar until the end of the episode.
Okay.
How did he have her power? Where did he get the tattoo with the scales? How did he have her staff? Maybe he explained this? How did he know what her plan was? How did he know how to find her? It felt like they were just supposed to be like, he used to be Conchu's avatar, and now he has this information and he's doing his own thing.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
That's stupid.
Well, yeah, but I don't know what else to tell you. I guess it always just felt like he was just like a culty guy.
I always thought he was being led by Amit, like...
No, I didn't think that.
I guess I did. I always assumed that he wasn't like inhabited or like directly being, like, I felt like Amit was calling to him. Kind of like the fucking doorway in Shang-Chi.
I think in the sense that, like, after being done with Khonshu, he was just like, Khonshu's stupid. He won't kill people before they do evil things. But
And then he did a little bit of research.
yeah, and then he's like, Amit's pretty cool. He does what I
But
want.
like, where'd he get the staff? Where'd he get the magic scale tattoo?
He goes on little adventures. He
I don't
tomb
know.
robs.
I feel like it falls into the same realm as, for me, as like the other gods, where it's just like everything has its own like little rules, and like I'm fine with it. Like he can have his dumb powers or whatever, but it just felt like
If I can sit here and listen to you tell me that, like, hey, the show made sense, I think I could.
I'm giving you actual information that the show gives us and putting it into context elsewhere. The show doesn't give us this information on him unless he has a line in the first episode or two. I think he says he found the staff or found, like, he just says like this is a piece of her power, but I don't know where he found that.
But there's not a reason, I guess, and my side is like, because Harrow didn't explicitly say, like, Amit is my avatar now, Khonshu, I don't need you. I never thought Amit was his avatar, or he was Amit's avatar, because he was looking for Amit.
It doesn't matter. It just feels like more of like vague rules about these gods.
Well, yeah. Hey, speaking of vague rules, now that Amit and Harrow are teamed up, how does that work? Because he can just, like, stomp his staff and be like, all cops are bad, and kill them all? But, like, Laylo's there. Does he have to, like, focus on who he's making his staff go to? Because he just did kind of like a general smash in the ground thing. And I feel like Layla's
so.
bad because she made fake passports, but maybe that's not that bad.
But then he also, like, what exactly is supposed to happen with the tattoo? The scales are supposed to be balanced. Before, I thought they were unbalanced in the wrong way, but that's not true. The scales need to be
You're, like, really digging
balanced.
in this tattoo.
No, what I'm saying...
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I know his tattoo
I'm
made
getting
colors.
to a point. Hold on. I'm getting to a
Okay.
point. When he does his tattoo thing, originally, it doesn't matter what I originally thought. The point is, your scales need to be balanced, right? That's his deal. If your scales are balanced, you're fine.
Yes.
If they're not, you're dead. Then why is he not able to immediately kill Mark?
That's what I was going to say.
Because he's like, your scales are full of chaos, but that means they're not balanced. Like, that's the whole point of their thing on the boat, is that their scale is not balanced. So why does he not automatically kill Mark?
I guess because they're still moving.
That's stupid.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess you're right. It seems to think that if they're still moving, then it's fair game. It's not determined, I guess. But I feel like by definition, they're not balanced.
No, I agree, because that's what I was gonna bring up. Like, why doesn't he just kill? Like, this is a philosophical argument now. I don't understand the Minority Report thing. I mean, I do.
I don't, because
I mean, I do in
and
like
of
the
itself,
grand
it's
scope
fine.
of we need to stop people from, we're gonna imprison people before they can be bad. I understand that, but I don't understand like why are Mark's scales all iffy, because Mark like literally killed people that he himself was like, I'm a bad guy. And so you think the scale, Amit's little scale thing would be like, I mean, this guy himself thinks he's a bad guy. He has murdered people for money.
And I think in the end, it just comes down to like,
He's the main character of the show and he's a superhero.
yes, but shorthand for, I think it comes down to like, he has an like a secondary personality. And so because those two souls are one soul together, they're in
Two
flux
souls
because,
enter, one soul leaves.
because Mark has sinned, but Steven has not. But since they are like the same soul or whatever, that throws it all out of balance or whatever. Fine. I don't care. But like, my thing with this is, in the grand scheme of things, as far as the Marvel Universe is concerned, in order for Amit to prove her point, or to believe her point in any capacity, there is no such thing as free will. She believes, like, we live in a fatalist world where you are destined to do what you are going to do, and there's no chance of that changing. But post Loki, we know that that is absolutely not true.
Is it?
And I guess, like, in the end, Amit is the villain of the show and she can be wrong, but it feels weird that it's posing it as this thing, and I don't understand how she believes what she believes. How does she know that this person will do something in the future that's horrible? Because the future is constantly in flux. That's what Loki shows us.
We learned that Kang dying let Amit's spell work.
That, I know what you're doing.
No, but...
This is what I was talking about earlier.
But, I mean, can you hand wave it as like, I mean, people are going to do it. That's the problem with deviance.
But here's the thing. That's Kang's choice. Like, that's Kang's true timeline. Kang wants things to go a very specific way, which isn't even... Actually, Kang doesn't want things to go a very specific way. Kang doesn't want to disrupt the variance to cause
Pompeii.
other multiverses to exist. He doesn't actually care about the one true timeline as something that truly exists. He cares about pruning the timeline to keep it stable. And, like, you could say that, like, pre-Kang, sure, Amit's right. The world is... Kang still allowed variances to happen, but at a certain point, I guess they become a problem. But, like, for the simplistic bit of this argument, sure. Pre-Kang, when Amit was originally entombed, fine, whatever. I guess that, yes.
I think even post-Kang,
There was a true timeline. Post-Kang, nothing is certain. Post-Loki, nothing is certain. There is no way to determine the future.
Now, I might be misremembering, and I would probably... I don't care about this shit. But, like, a deviant is a new... I mean, I guess pre-Kang, a deviant was a new multiverse. So, like, pre-Kang, Amit is correct in that even if someone does free will and is a deviant, there is still a timeline with the person doing the bad thing. And so Amit is correct.
No, because it's pruned.
What?
No. Wait, what?
When you deviant, there's two of you now, right?
Yes, but then Kang goes in and destroys that other timeline. There's only one outcome, because any variation, any point in the timeline where things deviate to the point of branching, the timeline is pruned. That was the whole point of Kang's whole spiel. That's why the Time Society, or whatever the hell they were called, the TVA, that's why they were formed, was to prune that. So no, there is no version of you doing an evil thing out there if that's not what Kang wanted to happen. There's only one you. That's his whole point. There can't be two yous. He pulls you out, like, if there is a second you, it's because he pulls you out of the timeline and you're no longer affecting things. You're part of the TVA.
But outside here...
But otherwise you're pruned.
Hold on. Outside of Kang and TVA, if I deviant, what happens? Is there only one of me?
If you deviate, what do you mean outside of Kang?
Outside of Kang and TVA, like, nobody's interfering. Nobody's pruning. Nobody's caring.
Yeah.
If I deviate, is there two of me?
Yes.
So Amit is still
That's
correct.
No.
I don't understand how. Because if I'm going to do a bad thing, and then I deviate and do not do the bad thing...
So, okay, hold on. This is what I was getting at before when I was saying post-Kang. But, okay, yes, there's two of you. But that requires Amit, which maybe she does, to care about the multiverse. But at that point,
does she care about the multiverse, though? Does she need...
That's what I'm saying!
No, does she need to? There is a version
Yes.
of me out there that will, like...
Then every single person gets killed. There are no survivors. Because everybody has the potential to deviate. That's what I'm getting at.
I mean, and I guess we don't know that whether or not, and this is outside
Whether
of
she
anything,
cares about multiverse does not matter. If she does, then every person gets killed. If she doesn't, then she does not care.
No, if she knows about the
She
multiverse,
only cares about
then
what
she only
happens
kills
in
the
the
people
one timeline. Then she only cares about one timeline. So that means at the end of your timeline that you'll kill. But since everything is in flux, there's no way to know who will do what, because you can't accurately predict time. Even Doctor Strange couldn't do that before Kang was killed. He was able to look at all the million different versions of the future and only know one would work.
How's that different from Amit?
That's what I'm saying. I
feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I think we're on the same thing again. We're arguing the same point, but you're looking at it one way and I'm looking at it another. I feel like we're so close, and then we're like,
I think we're looking at the same thing differently. Or you're thinking, either I'm thinking something isn't a point, or
I think we're looking at it the same way, and you're going, Amit can't kill anybody because she doesn't know what's going to happen. And I'm like, Amit can kill people because she does know what's going to happen. And we're at a standstill.
We're not at a standstill.
Okay.
The point is, and
the point is,
maybe I'm arrogant.
Sucks.
Maybe I'm up my own ass, but it feels like the Endgame thing where I was talking about how time travel doesn't work, and we were going in circles.
Just like time travel. I mean, we're talking about gobbledygook and comic book movies anyway.
We are.
I don't think either of us know how time or the multiverse works.
When it comes down to it, there is, with the information we know of the MCU, it doesn't matter if time is fracturing or not, or the multiverse is fracturing or not. Amit cannot know what the future holds. It's impossible.
And again, I say,
like,
why?
the only way she could is, the only defense I can give you is, or give her, is that when Kang was in control, I guess she could see the future in as much as Kang was controlling it. And so there is a one true timeline there where if someone is going to do a bad thing, they will do that bad thing, because Kang is going to make sure that if they don't do that bad thing, that timeline gets pruned. But in as much as she is concerned, like, and that's the weird thing with Kang, is that, like, her stuff only works as Kang is controlling the timeline. The defense I can give the show is when she was imprisoned, yeah, absolutely, she could have predicted who was going to do what. And
well, in defense of the show, you can say, Amit's the bad guy.
Yes, but, and I said that earlier, where she's the bad guy, so, like,
she can be wrong. Yeah,
right,
yeah. It's like,
but, like, it only works when Kang was in control. In which, I guess, she just woke up. Maybe she's
a
no
little
idea,
groggy.
But, like,
she doesn't know where she is
yet. The whole ability of her power, where, like, her power is given to all of her followers, and they all grab people and weigh their scales. Like, those scales should never be able to work, because you can't know the future. Because Kang is dead, and the timeline is fracturing willy-nilly all over the place. There's no concrete timeline to follow. Stuff will just happen as it happens.
Can I make a dumb rebuttal now? Or
sure.
Would you like to?
No, I'm done. Because I'm talking in circles anyway.
I mean, we both are. We're both going to end up like 4 hours later.
This is going to be a great episode to edit.
We're going to end up like 4 hours later and be like, I don't know, I like this part. Why? Okay. What does one true timeline mean?
Exactly what I said. Kang is pruning the timeline so that it follows a set path.
But why does anybody care?
Nobody does. Only Kang does. Because Kang doesn't want the multiverse to happen.
Like, I guess to me, I feel like, and again, maybe I just don't understand comic book gobbledygook, and no one does. But looking at it as a one true timeline feels disingenuous to Amit, because I don't think Amit cares about one true timeline. Amit cares if this person in this this timeline moment will commit.
I understand what you're saying. You said this before, but what I'm getting at is, if there is not a one true timeline, then no one is safe. Absolutely no one. Every single person on the planet will have a timeline where they do something evil. Absolutely every single person.
But those are different people.
But that's not how... What?
Maybe I'm stupid. To me, I think those are different people. We see a million multiverses and What If, and those are different people.
But they're fracture points. I feel like...
No, you bring up a good point with fracture points.
They are... Once the multiverse fractures... Sure, they're different people. That's not what I'm talking about. They are each person is the potential person, or the potential future of the person 2 seconds before that. If you look at one person and let's say Amit grabs your wrists, or one of her followers, who fucking cares, and they weigh the scales. If they're looking at everything, they're not looking at different people. They're looking at they're either looking at the one true future, which does not exist, or they are looking at every potential future in which there is always going to be one that goes off the beaten path. Unless the only thing that's going to happen to you is you're going to die in 30 seconds because you have cancer.
Let's dive into this, because...
We just did!
Well, let's get deeper, man. Okay, so here's my closing statement, and I will open it up with, I think we're both right. I think you're more right. You bring up a good thing with the fractured points. Because I was thinking, like, well, there's like a million,
She's not looking at, like, each version of you across the multiverse. She's looking at each potential future across the multiverse. Each action that you could take from that point forward.
And so here is my deep dive. And I think it's going to end up where both of us don't, neither of us know. But,
Oh, I know. I'm certain that I'm right.
well, I mean, I just said I think you're more right. But what is the multiverse? So we hear Doctor Strange say, I looked at thousands of futures and this is the only one that works. Is that a concrete number? Is that how many multiverses there are?
No, I think that's just how many he was able to look at in the time that he was given.
Because, like, you mentioned fracture
Because
point.
the actual number is infinite. It has to.
Because you mentioned fracture points, and I was like, okay, I have to concede. Because everything's fine until a fracture point. You know, you're one person until the fracture point. Until I thought there's infinite multiverses, so that means there's infinite fracture points.
Yes.
So I don't disagree that everyone dies in some timeline or in some multiverse. And I don't know how the multiverse works to say, you know, apropos to the show, what is real, what is not, because I think with millions of multiverses, Amit can take someone at any specific point in time and say, you will commit bad things. Because that is just the path you're on, regardless, like the path she's looking at, regardless of fractures. Because there's millions of, like, Moon Knight has to be in some concrete universal timeline, right?
What do you mean? Universal timeline.
There has to be a million, billion, trillion, infinite fracture points.
Yeah.
But each of those has to branch somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, like, and maybe I thought you agreed with me, and then we talked in circles more, and so let me know if you disagree. But when there's a fracture point, that is two distinct people, right?
I mean, in as much as like physical...
If I'm an Egyptian god of death, and I'm judging your soul, at that fracture point, these are two different people, right? Like, I am judging timeline A, even though fracture point made timeline B person.
I mean, in timeline B, then the Egyptian god of timeline B is judging that person.
Correct.
Yeah.
So timeline A Amit can look at timeline A person and say, you will commit adultery.
No, because either that timeline does one thing and there's no way to branch.
It branches it every
which we
way.
know is not, which we know is not true, or she sees all the potential futures that you could have. Yes, when that happens, it branches to another future. But in that moment, or into another multiverse, and then that god is dealing with that person. She doesn't know that. In that moment, she is looking at your future, and she has to be looking at your potential future, because there's no such thing as your concrete future. It doesn't matter that when those futures happen, they split into another timeline. All she's doing is she's either seeing every future or one of them, and she can't see one of them because by the law of this universe as we know it, there's no question, there's no such thing as fatalism. We know this. Like, if Moon Knight existed in its own, I could look at this and she could say, these people are going to commit evil. I know they're going to do this. I can see their future. And Khonshu can say, they have a choice. You see the choice that they'll make that, but they may not. And they deserve to live until that moment. I think you are looking, I don't know how to explain
I
this.
think I do. I don't think we can get any different. I think this is just where it has to stop. I don't think there's a way to manipulate things anymore. You do not, I don't want to speak for you. I believe person A exists forever, regardless of fractures, because there's infinite fractures. So even though person B through Z, through AA, ZZ, all that stuff, person A exists.
I see what you're saying.
But you don't agree.
Again, I don't think it's possible because we have evidence that that's not true. That's the whole point of Loki. The whole point of Loki is that there is no person A that lives on into infinity. You're constantly branching.
But
And
if you
it
branch,
doesn't
there
matter.
has to
like,
be person A still.
Yes, but that person A isn't one thing, or else it's not branching. It's just every multiverse is just similar to another universe, but there cannot be a branch if person A continues. It's not possible because then they're not person A. Like, I hear what you're saying, but due to the nature of Loki and what we learn, that is not possible. Person A will continue. Yes, person A will continue because of whatever they are. It's not like you just disappear and then, you go from person A and then you make a choice and then person A stops existing.
Because that's not a
person B and
multiverse.
C. But what I'm getting at is the future is not like concrete what timeline, like
Every timeline exists.
I don't know how it.
I mean, like I said, there's no
Explain
way to malleate it any more.
There is. I just can't figure out how.
Because I see what you're saying in that there's too many division points to be able to make a concrete judgment. Correct?
Yes.
Whereas I'm saying there's too many division points, but every division point is valid.
Yes.
And so that's why my Amit can follow this weird branching, like this one singular branching path and say, this is the timeline I'm on, this is the fracture I'm on, at this particular moment, you die.
But due to the nature of Loki, the timeline does not exist as a thing that can be followed like that. Like, you will never know, even if you go like, this one person will do this, like, you never know what's going to happen around them. That's the whole point of free will. Like, Ammit's idea argues against the whole principle of Loki because Ammit has to say that there is no free will. And in order for what you're saying to work, she has to be right. But in order for her to be right, Kang has to be wrong. And Loki has to be wrong. Loki the show and Loki the character. They have to be wrong. But the whole point of their show was that they are right. That everybody makes choices. Those choices are valid. You deserve to make those choices. The whole point of Kang's thing is like, I have the script of what you're going to do, which is stupid because we went into how that doesn't make any sense because his whole spiel is that they're making choices. He shouldn't be able to predict every action they take at that point. But
We
whatever.
talked about hyperfixations last episode, and now here I am again. Let me know when you want off Mr. Bones' wild ride.
I want off Mr. Bones.
Okay, I would like to continue it after the episode, please.
Just go for it. I feel like we're spiraling. I feel like I
think we've both said our piece.
I feel like I need a
but I'm like trying.
I feel like I need a whiteboard.
Pepe Sylvia.
It reminds me of when I was talking about in Lost, where like they have to explain time travel to everybody like they're fucking knuckle dragging morons. And I'm sitting here and it's like, you're not a knuckle dragging moron, but I'm just like, you're missing something, and I know what that something is. I just don't know how to give it to you. And honestly, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the idiot who's missing something, and you don't know how to explain it to me.
That's the timeline I'm living in. You're living in the other timeline.
I am so clear on what I'm thinking and
no,
what
I am
I'm saying.
too. We're just in different timelines. So I think at the end of the day, it comes down to the multiverse is inherently an idea that doesn't make any sense. And so, like, if a multiverse exists, how can free will exist? If every permutation is valid?
Because every permutation has the opportunity. This is what I'm getting at. Every permutation has the opportunity to make those choices. They are not on a set path where at every choice, they will always make that choice, but there's always a universe where they don't make that choice. In that moment, they choose that choice. Then, in another universe, chooses a different choice, or makes the same choice. That's what the multiverse is. The multiverse is not, you will always make the same choice, and then it'll split at every choice you could have made, or you will take an action. The multiverse is not, you will take an action. You will always take this action. But, because the multiverse exists, when you take that action, all the actions you didn't take will go into a different multiverse. What the multiverse is you have a choice. At every choice, you, yourself, make a decision. That is not set in stone. It is not predetermined. You will choose of your own volition to take an action. Then, there is always a universe where that action wasn't taken. There are also universes where that same action is taken. There are universes where you don't exist to make that action or make that choice. But you are making the choice. The big thing that we are divisive on here is you believe that you are not making choices.
Correct.
You are taking actions. But that is not true, because that is what Loki tells us is not true.
And Loki's always right. That's
no.
bitty.
I'm saying the show. The show tells us this. The information the show not only tells us, but gives us, shows us the whole explanation for its fucking point. Which, granted, the show is stupid and it doesn't understand what it's saying. But the show, as it explains itself, as I barely wrapped my feeble brain around what it was trying to do, very clearly explains to me as I understood it. And if I'm wrong here, then that makes the show even worse. So I will freely admit that if I am wrong, I'll admit it, because that makes Loki an even worse show than it already is.
I mean, and maybe I just say it to justify myself, but like, there's like two worldviews here where I totally see your worldview of when you make a choice.
And I see
divert.
your worldview as what Ammit could believe. In outside of Loki, I would be on your side here. Not on your side, but I would agree in the possibility of your.
And I don't remember Loki enough to argue your point.
If we didn't have the multiverse and everything else that happened, these fracture points and all that bullshit, if we didn't have Loki and What If and Multiverse of Madness, if we didn't have all that stuff, sure, I could sit here and go, yeah, Ammit, we wouldn't even have this discussion, because I would have never brought up. Because the whole argument that Khonshu gives is that they have a choice to make, and Ammit says they will do this thing. And you're with Ammit. They're going to do this.
They have to. There's infinite
and
multiverses.
I'm with Khonshu. Fuck the multiverses right now. I made that to make point. I think you're too hyper-focused on the multiverse.
Not valid.
The point being, you believe, multiverse or not, you believe that there is a timeline that's happening. You will take an action. That action will happen.
Yeah, there has to be. That's how the multiverse exists.
No, now we're back. I thought
is time different than the multiverse?
Not in the MCU.
Like, how am I going backwards then? I'm trying. I really am trying, and I know this is just an impossible thing to explain.
It doesn't matter because I feel like we've been on it for too long, and I'm thinking of future timeline Andrew, who concretely exists, who has to edit this.
I told you I will talk about it after. You can step off this wild ride. I'll be done. I'll move on, and then I would like to.
Please let me off the ride. Refund my ticket mid loop de loop. I'll unhook from the seatbelt. Somebody catch me and walk me down to get cotton candy.
Okay, so let's see. I like at the beginning when the show needs to remind everyone that the little throwaway line mattered and everything went back to like Mark having a third personality. They really bashed that into my brain. Maybe that's why my brain doesn't work, because they said from like minute one, they're just like, okay, we got to show the image of the third sarcophagus. Then we got to have Harrow. We have the voiceover of Harrow being like, however many people are left inside you, Mark. And
yeah. When he did that, I was like,
it.
I mean, I knew we were going to get a payoff to that because why wouldn't they when they set it up? But when he said that, I was like, that was just to make it as fucking clear
I was surprised
as possible.
and or impressed. I don't know. Probably not impressed because the show sucks, but I was surprised they withheld their hand for so long.
I was too, to the point that I was seriously thinking, like, are they actually not going to do this? And I was like, they can't. They set it up too much. Mm-hmm. Like, they did a bad job of it. But, like, in this episode alone, they make references to it, and there's enough there that it's like, you can't not pay off on it. But it goes for so long.
As much as the immortality, like, Deus Ex Machina is, fucking John Lockley is the most Deus Ex Machina ever. How about anytime someone's like, I got my Marvel script right here, or I got my Moon Knight script right here, and they slam it down on the table, and at the very end, it's like, screen goes black, problem solved. Wrote myself into a wicked corner there, Paul Feig, but I found a way out. Good old John Lockley. Also, I was disappointed that when Khonshu was trying to convince Layla to be his avatar, he wasn't like, let me be your avatar and you'll be my Moon Knight.
I was disappointed that we didn't get to see Lockley's costume. If we do get another season, he damn well better have a
I actually just read something before we started recording that the costume designer for the show said he would be the black costume that you love so much.
That's what I assumed.
Black means...
I like that costume. I think it's
black
fun.
means violent, I think, in color theory.
Also, how about when Khonshu was in the back of that
limo
and he was in like a suit? It was like a cool look.
But it didn't make any sense. Why would you do that?
You've been like a big giant like skeletal bird man forever in like mummy wraps, and now you're in a suit because it looks cool. Also, I never thought about it until Amit said something where she said like time hasn't been good to you or something because he's a skeleton, and I never thought about it. I always just took that for granted.
Yeah, you're right.
But I was like, oh yeah, everyone else is like an animal thing, but like I guess he's been ravaged by time for some fucking reason.
Because he's different.
Because it's cool looking. Because all of his rules are different.
The Moon Knight rules are: is it cool? Why is Khonshu wearing a suit? It looks cool. Oh, okay. This is the cool universe. Layla's superhero costume is whatever. I actually kind of had it spoiled because I
did too. I saw it on
was
Twitter.
Loading up all my stuff before I watched the episode, and it's like front and center on the IMDb. So I knew that like, okay, there's a thing here. I think it looks fine. Like you said, it doesn't make sense.
I think it like looks nice in just like a generic.
It looks generic
thing.
I will give it.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Like I don't think it looks bad in any way.
It kind of looks like
fine.
off-brandy.
Yes. I don't know if it's an actual character. I don't know anything about Layla. I don't know if I assume she's named after a real character, but I don't know if like, that character ever became. But I think it's fine. It's weird in that, like, I don't know. It's dumb, but I wish she had a mask or something. Like, I know that there's no reason for her to have it.
Well, there is reason, so she can take it off.
Yeah. I didn't like how much they were not wearing their mask.
Yeah.
Mark and Steven kept like pulling it off.
They just like showed up without it.
But I just like,
it's a decent look.
It was like fine. But I wish it was like more superhero-y. I wish it had like a mask or a helmet and again, she's a hippo god and has nothing hippo related on her, but does have bird wings. Which, to be fair, Khonshu, I guess he's the moon god though, and Moon Knight does have moons all over him.
Motif. He's got his little like white threads that Khonshu has.
But she is basically just like
generic Egyptian,
high production, high school
Egyptian superhero design.
Or Mark Antony and Cleopatra sort of.
Yeah.
Thing. Like, it's fine, but like it doesn't really scream superhero-y until she pulls out the wings.
But see, and I mean, this is hypocritical to what we just said about Khonshu, but like, why would an Egyptian god make a superhero-y costume? I mean, I guess because you could sit there and be like, people trust superheroes. I need you to look like a superhero that people trust.
When you're
murdering people, we need to make you look credible. I mean, Hera was like a weird, disheveled guy, and that's why people hated him. You need to do the same thing as Harrow, just look a little nicer.
Yeah, did Harrow ever wear that suit?
No, we never saw him. We never saw his Moon Knight suit or his Amit suit. Amit didn't need a suit for his avatar, I guess, or her avatar. That would have been cool. It would have
guess-
sucked.
At that point, yeah, just like when part of me was like, you know what? When he was fighting Harrow, I was like, he's not just fighting evil Moon Knight, but I'm also just like, fucking put him in a
Put him in-
supervillain suit,
make him
dress
fight
him
the
like a
day
fucking
man.
alligator. Just fucking go.
But no, I think Layla's suit looks generic and off-brand, but I like how it feels like it's not a superhero costume. And because it's like an Egyptian-focused initial point, I like that's like very Mark Hamill, Cleopatra, but I don't know. I like how it's kind of differentiated in that regard, rather than just being like the same kind of cookie cutter design approach that everybody else has. She does a decent amount, but I guess I don't feel like she does anything.
No one really does. I think like she's fine. and
That's the
she's-
thing. Everybody's
she's active
fine. Nobody does anything.
She's
though.
active in the fight at the end, but like she feels kind of like tacked
Mhm.
on. Like they needed a cool reveal for the
Well, they
final
needed
episode.
her to do
We've
something.
already
in the
seen,
final episode,
but she could have also just been the person that broke Khonshu out.
but then she's done.
And honestly,
mean,
like
she
I
did
think
that
there's,
with
but I think there's something interesting in Khonshu being like, "Be my avatar," and then her saying, "No, fuck off."
I liked that until Taweret broke her down and was just like,
No, I agree, but I'm just saying like there's something interesting in that where you can just end her bit there. Like she can still participate in one way or another, but like she doesn't need to be a superhero. You can just like you can have her role in the show or in the episode to be like break Khonshu out and then
peace.
tell him
Then
fuck
peace
off.
out. I was disappointed when she was like Taweret's avatar, because she made such a big point of like, I'm my own person. And I understand like Taweret has different conditions or whatever, but it's just kind of like, I don't know. I wish she would have stuck to her guns and done like
And shot guns. You like when the superheroes
I like
shoot guns.
when superheroes shoot guns. But I don't know. It just kind of took away some of her identity to me when she just became another thing.
What else is there?
A bunch of crap.
Bunch of crap.
How about when Harrow kills all the cops and Layla's there?
Is Layla? What is Layla?
We already talked about timelines. I can't get into what
Like
Layla
she's
is.
Mark's wife, but like she's not a mercenary. Is she a researcher? What is her like role? Like she knows how to fight, but like why and how? Like she had that woman that was like, "Hey, I made a passport for you."
Yeah, she's like a...
Is she a mercenary? Was she a mercenary with Mark?
No.
After Mark did mercenarying? Are they just like treasure
I think-
hunters?
She's just like an adventurer. I don't even know if
Okay.
she's like a treasure hunter. She's just like... What is she?
Because she like takes out that guy silently in the.
How about when
in
she
the
takes out that
tomb.
guy silently? Well, not super silently in the tomb, enough that...
He's like,
Harrow like turns
And
his
Harrow, like,
back and
turns
he's like, whatever. I haven't seen a movie ever.
How about when Harrow conveniently leaves the Scarab for finding him on Mark, but then she doesn't need it because she just like gets in the truck with them.
Oh, that's why they showed the scarab?
I assume. Well, he sets it on Mark, and I was like, "Why would you do that?" And I was like, "I guess you don't need it anymore." And I thought like maybe that's for Mark to find because it tracks Amit. So I was like, maybe that's to find Amit after he wakes up from the dead. But then Layla takes it and she opens it up and it like flies and points in a direction and she's like, "That's the direction I gotta go." And then the next thing we see, she's like on the back of that truck. And I was like, did I really need that? Did I need for her to follow? Like, we could have just like cut to her on the back of the truck and I would have had the exact same thing of like, oh, she's here. I don't know. It was just like a weird bit of like, this is what you're caring to explain? And I think it's because the Scarab was such a big point for the last 5 episodes that they were just like, well, we can't just like not show it again. It was a thing. It was a thing. We got to have it do a
Layla
thing.
is an archaeologist.
That's what I thought. Like an Indiana Jones
An
archaeologist.
archaeologist who likes punching things. Hey, so I saw like a full screen of this costume. I like how she has like swords, but when she holds them out with her wings, they look like feathers. Like they blend in with the wings. It's a good look.
When she pulled out the wings the first time, I was like, is she holding swords or is she holding feathers on her wings? And then later on, she was like swinging them around.
So Layla is not a thing.
At all?
I don't think anything is a thing. Well, so in the wiki it says she's Scarlet Scarab, which I guess is Abdul Faul or Mehmet Faul. They both have the moniker Scarlet Scarab. So there you go. My brother messaged me this morning. He was like, he's like, I don't have a leg to stand on because I don't know comic book stuff, but everyone's complaining about there's no longer a normal superhero. And I was like, are they?
What does he mean?
That's what I kind of was like, what do you mean? Do you mean this? And I was like, or do you mean that like people are mad that like minorities and women and people that aren't straight white men are getting superhero stuff? And he's like, that one. And then like during the day, I was like, either there's going to be a bunch of stuff in Doctor Strange or a bunch of stuff in Moon Knight. And then when Layla got the superpowers, I was like, is this what he was talking about? Or is it this and Doctor Strange? How about people?
Seth, give me 2 put-ups and a put-down.
Like you, I mean, I think there's some decent stuff here. I think it is all backed up by the absolute most gibberish, nonsensical bullcrap. And kind of like the last episode, where I was like, I like the hospital scene, and you're like, why? And I was like, I don't know, it looks like a fun hospital scene. Like, it has all the trappings of like a good scene, but it's not. I fully understand that. I'm going to keep that train riding here.
You like the hospital scene
No, I
again?
like the, I like Giant Khonshu fighting Giant Amit in the background.
Shared first put-up. Giant kaiju battle. So stupid.
I
Loved
mean,
it.
I didn't need any more than what we got, actually. Like, I liked it, and I would like more, but I didn't need more. It was nice to just, like, have it in the background. They felt lumbering.
When she was sucking in souls and growing bigger at a far
That was
greater
stupid.
rate than she was sucking in souls, I was like, this is stupid. Hate this. Because I was like, she's going to be a giant monster in the background, and Moon Knight's not going to fight her. He's just going to, like, stop Harrow and she'll disappear. But then Khonshu's like, whoop, here I go.
They're,
And I was like,
fighting
okay.
on the side of the pyramid, and he, like, pushes her onto the pyramid and stabs him. I mean, it was sweet.
I guess this we'll divide my put up here. We'll just put this here. I also liked the fight inside the CGI wasn't great
Shared
at
put
times,
up.
but the fight inside the tomb where they were fighting and he was like teleporting around. I thought
Shared
that was
put
fun.
up. And by shared put up, I mean, I actually hated that, and that's my put down. That looked
Oh,
super
really?
video gamey to me.
It did, but I thought it was kind of fun. I liked his
I didn't
teleporting.
understand his teleporting, and I didn't care for it.
And I liked when he like appeared in a bunch of really bad CGI smoke. But it was like cool visuals in general, like
Giant
idea.
Amit, Giant Khonshu, cool visual ideas in general. I didn't care for that one.
Second put
Well,
up.
what's
for
your
you.
put down? You said your 2 put ups. I said a put up and a put down.
No. That was a shared put. My actual like put up.
Wait, that was a oh, I see. When you said I also liked, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, you're doing a put up thing. Okay.
No. That was why I was just going to
Well,
say.
then
it was
let me
connected
finish my
because it wasn't
crap.
really going to be.
So first
Yeah,
put up,
go ahead.
Giant Kaiju battle. Second put up, the small single line of the like, are you an Egyptian superhero? And she's like, yeah. I like the greater inference of that line that will never matter. Of like, superheroes exist outside of the US. And I mean, I didn't really think of that during Eternals where it all is set in like Europe and England or whatever. But there was something about the just bluntness of, hey, you're not an American superhero. Like, and I mean, I guess Shang-Chi is also not an American superhero, but I don't know. There was just something about, they all felt too, maybe this is a thing on me, but there was just something nice to call it out. I mean, like, superheroes exist throughout the world. And I mean, I guess Shang-Chi is American, right? Is he American-born Chinese, or is he Chinese?
He is Chinese. Because remember, he moves to America when he flees his dad.
When he's young?
When he's like
Okay.
a teenager.
But I guess he still started in the U.S. And it's not appropriate, but England is very similar to the U.S. in that, like, I don't know. It probably says more about me when I'm like, it doesn't seem like different enough. UK and I'm going to stop.
He's still an American-based superhero for all intents and purposes.
Well, and I was thinking like the Eternals and stuff. It's nice. I guess it's nice to see like a smaller country get their due and be like, okay, we've opened up the doors to like superheroes.
Black Panther's not American.
You're right.
You're sounding real
Hey,
stupid right
for
now.
as stupid as I am, I think there's infinite multiverses that Amit can scale because no, you're right, but Black Panther is an inherently American superhero, regardless of where he's from. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Don't say yes to that. That's stupid. Don't say yes to that.
I was just agreeing so you didn't have to dig that
Thank
hole
you,
further.
Thank you. I caught myself.
What are friends for?
I don't know. I just don't have his. I don't know who Scarlet Scarab is. So that was cool. Anyways, put down teleport battle in the pyramid. That sucked.
All right, first put up, Giant Kaiju battle. Lots of fun. Second put up, I actually kind of like the superhero-y stupid fight at night with a bunch of people. He was just like flinging crap and flying around all over the place and flipping over stuff. And like, it's dumb. And like when he and Harrow were like flying around, it was stupid. But like, it felt comic booky in a way that I wanted. And I like I said, I kind of liked the visual of them like swapping suits. It just doesn't really amount to anything. In fact, there are multiple times where the camera pans away and it pans back and it's a different one. And I liked it. As much as I hate that transformation, I thought it just kind of like looked cool to like do it in the middle of a fight. This reminded me very much of like Tokusatsu. The fights kind of felt a little more grounded. The giant like battle happening in the background felt kind of Sentai. The like transforming between Mark and Steven felt kind of like form changes with Kamen Rider.
I like the changing
that
of the
happened, like,
suits
in the middle of fighting.
like when they switched on and off.
But like I thought a lot of that was fun. I thought Layla had some good fun fight stuff. Like it was fine. Like
It was serviceable.
it wasn't anything truly special, but it was like a step in the direction of like it wasn't like for a fight that had like a million mooks, it wasn't like a giant goddamn CGI clusterfuck battle. So I liked that. My put down is going to be the 2 stupid fucking fake outs at the end where they're like, all right, Khonshu, honor your deal and free us from our cool superhero powers. And he's like, yep, sure thing. And then they wake up in the psych ward for no fucking reason.
Just to bring it back.
And it's so goddamn stupid. And then after they're like, no, we believe in our real truth. And then they wake up in bed and then like fly out of and it probably wasn't, but it felt like it was supposed to be like, oh, was it all just a dream?
I don't think...
That probably wasn't the case, but it felt like it and it pissed me off.
I think this is another instance where like I don't think it was a like a gotcha moment or something, or not a gotcha moment.
I don't think it was. Like, I don't think it was. I just think it felt like that.
But I think it is a deliberate, like, a quick change of locations and being like, is this, what's real? I think they went in knowing that it would cause that. But I don't think it wasn't like a purposeful, like, ooh, maybe this is the reality. I think they went in being like, no one's going to believe that this is none of that happened.
What's your number 1 episode and your bottom episode?
I'm
going to start off. I think my number 1 episode is going to be the finale. It's not good. It's way too rushed, but it had a giant CGI kaiju battle and a fun enough fight. And like the rest of the episodes were so frustrating and nothing that I actually like thought this episode was fun up until like it wrapped up.
So I'm actually trying to decide between the finale or episode 4. Because I agree with you. I mean, I think the finale went by quick. None of it made any fucking sense. But for whatever reason, I was able to just sit there and be like, interesting enough things are being shown in front of my eyeballs. I'll take it. I think at that point, I didn't have faith in it to fix itself. And so I just kind of went in and was just like, all this stuff is kind of stupid and dumb. And I just kind of let it go. And maybe that's what we just need to do, man. Just let it go. All we gotta do is wake up, I'll probably take the finale as my favorite. I liked this hospital stuff and some of the stuff in the 4th one, but I think it probably had more problems and I was still young and stupid. My least favorite, did you do your least favorite?
I did
What's
not.
your least favorite since you went first?
I'm trying to really remember all the episodes.
Then I'll go. I think the 2nd episode was my least favorite. And I don't know if some of that's just because, like, the first episode I was letting things kind of happen, but I remember as much as I can, like, it felt very samey. I don't know. It's hard to remember 6 weeks ago, I guess. My brain doesn't work that way. I mean, I'm looking at things and I'm thinking, like, oh, I remember that star was so stupid. But I don't know, like, the little fight with the spearman was fun. I don't remember anything else that happened in that episode, but... What happened in the 2nd episode? Mark fought a thing.
That's where
Steven fought a thing.
Mark summons the suit. Or Steven summons the suit, yeah. I think my least favorite episode is going to be... I'm trying to remember what happened. I think it was last episode. Last episode was where they tried to do the fake out.
No, that was 4.
No, well, they did. 5 is the one that followed through on that. 4 is the one that pissed me off, which is weird because 4, the first half, I was like, it's kind of like, I think 4, because the first chunk of it was like, this is kind of like a fun little like adventure in a tomb thing. I'm fine with a lot of this. And then it turns into like stupid gobbledygook with what's happening in the psych ward. That's so dumb and irritating. And there's more of it in the 5th episode, which also pisses me off.
No, there's a lot of the ship in the 5th episode.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of, like, they keep flopping back into the... I don't know. The point is, I hate all that, and I'm going to just pick the 4th one.
I don't remember, but I didn't think there was a ton of the hospital in the last one.
There is. Not, like, a ton, but, like, it keeps doing it.
Maybe.
It, like, pops back
I just remember
like,
that one
times.
as, like, the ship episode, I guess. But you're probably not wrong.
But that part of the ship stuff was them popping back into there.
What do you think everyone's favorite episode was? As voted on by IMDb users.
I would say probably the 2nd, maybe the finale, but the pessimist in me wants to say it is
the ship episode. Everyone loves when Mark and Steven search through their memories to find their truth or become left behind. What do you think IMDb users rate as their least favorite?
The 1st, maybe? No, probably the 4th because there's no Moon Knight in it.
You are incorrect. It is the 3rd, the Star episode.
I completely forgot.
I mentioned it.
I know. I was like struggling to remember what all the episodes were. And I like when they played a preview of it, I think they played a snippet of it I think, during the previously on. Or no, last episode when they were going through their memories, they saw that, the star shifting thing. And I went, oh yeah, that happened. Completely forgot. And then up until you said it again now, completely forgot. Which sucks, because I actually kind of like the star shifting thing.
The star shifting thing was fun. The ripping the wrappings off the sarcophagus and then folding into the shape of a star is stupid.
It's the dumbest thing in the world. Oh boy, I forgot about that.
See,
too.
that's what was when I was like, I hated that episode. That's what I think of. Like, that's what I'm trying to think of, like.
See, those didn't make me viscerally angry like the hospital shit did. So I just forgot about them. I was too pissed about other stuff to save that in my brain.
Well,
is this what you feel like all the time? Just forgetting things?
It's hard. No, but I mean, we talked throughout. I remember talking throughout the show that, like, there's a lot of weird, disjointed stuff. And I think it's for a reason, because Mark and Steven's life is kind of disjointed. But it's really hard to think back and say, what the fuck happened? Like, I was looking at the preview images, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I mean, the first episode's kind of like the first episode. What happens in the second? Okay, Steven fights a guy. What happens in the third? There's, like, a star. But, like, other than these very particular things.
If you had not mentioned the star, I don't think I could have remembered. Like, if you had asked me what happened in the third one, I don't think I would have been able to tell you. If you had not, like, said the star thing, I don't think I would have.
Other than going to that dude's Renaissance fair, I don't remember anything that happens in that episode.
Mark and Steven fight a bunch.
They do that in all the fucking. They do that in the first 3 episodes.
No, but they do it a lot in that one.
How about that one? That one's stupid.
That is probably the worst episode. It's just not my least favorite because other things pissed me off more.
I think episode 2 is the most forgettable.
No, I mean that's where you get to see the suit.
But that's like
the first
what,
like real
5 minutes
reveal. You get a dumb monster fight.
That's what 5 minutes at the end.
Sure, but like that's a memorable thing. Like you hate the star one because he folds the star in the thing, but that's like a 2-second thing that I forgot all about. I at least remember the werewolf fight.
The werewolf fight?
Yeah, he fights. That's like
in the first one.
He fights the jackal monster. And no, he fights it in the bathroom, and then in the second one they fight the jackal when Steven summons the suit.
That's not the star episode. We were talking about the star.
I'm talking about the second one. Yes, but then I said the second episode. You said nothing happened in it, and I said that happened in it.
What happened in the third one? The Renaissance
star.
Fair. And then what happened in the first half of that one?
Mark and Steven fight.
Right, and this is where we're at. And then I said the first 3 episodes are all, and then that's why we're here. The important thing is that the cool one is the one where they're on the ship in the mental hospital.
Sure. We got an origin for Steven. What's the fucking origin for John Cabby Driver, who uses a gun?
So Mark created Steven.
How about Khonshu's like, be my avatar, you get a cool suit, but also here's a gun.
What if Khonshu created John? Ooh, now we're thinking. Can Khonshu do that?
I don't know, maybe. Who cares? Who knows? Khonshu can do whatever they want him to do. He doesn't follow the rules of the other gods. He's got a spooky skeleton head.
Did John kill
he does whatever
Layla's father?
I don't think so. I think they could retroactively say that later to make Mark feel better about himself, but Mark remembers doing it.
Mark remembers being.
Bit.
I mean, I guess Mark didn't
actually.
Even kill
Mark
him.
didn't.
That was the thing that saved him.
Mark didn't do it. It was
mercenary.
Yeah,
powers.
it was whatever. Yeah, whatever that guy's name is. I want to say like Leatherhead, but it's not. But it's some weird
Leatherface.
name like that.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Mark created Steven so he could protect someone when he got beaten, and then Mark created John so that he could beat people when he's protecting.
Sure.
He created John to fight back against his mother. He said, "You hit me, I hit you." Yeah, where'd John come from? I assume he exists in the comics. Is that true? Where did he come from there? Did they care about any of that stuff in the comics?
I'm sure they do.
I don't remember.
But I don't know the detail. I don't know a lot of his origin stuff. Like I said, I think originally, before some more modern stuff, and more modern stuff could be as old as like several decades, but I think when Moon Knight originally happened, I don't think he had split personalities. I think he had multiple secret identities. He was just supposed to be like cool. He was like a mercenary and a cabbie driver. And
I thought his
billionaire.
like shtick. I agree. I didn't think it was like a split personality thing, but it was a Khonshu was his other personality.
I mean, I have no idea.
That's what I always.
I don't know a lot about Moon Knight. I only know modern Moon Knight, which has gone really deep into the like modern Moon Knight is almost all about him being like completely out of touch with reality. And I could be wrong. That may have his original thing may have been he had split personalities. I don't know, but I thought I remember way back in like high school when I first like looked up Moon Knight information. I thought it was that he just had multiple secret identities. Like that was his shtick as a character. That was like his selling point, was like he was the superhero with more than one
It was like
secret
dial
identity.
H for hero.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm
there.
trying
I
to
don't
look it
really know.
up.
I only know modern
I mean, it
stuff.
says that
It's hard. It's so hard to find stuff on comic books
because it's all like
as well.
technically like every retcon thing is canon.
Yeah, it gets updated.
Because I'm looking and it's like
just
becoming Moon
tells you,
Knight,
like,
and it's like fun 70s drawing of Moon Knight. But then before that, it's like his early childhood dissociative identity disorder, and it's like a 2008 panel. Was Moon Knight just like a costume when he first showed up? I'm like skimming this Werewolf by Night story, and I'm just like, I think Moon Knight was just a costume. It's just like, we have a werewolf monster. Who should he fight? What about a moon? Werewolves get moon powers.
Anyway, this is where I put
Oh,
house
you don't want to talk
cleaning.
about where I put this on my stupid list?
Oh, shit. Yeah, I forgot about that. Let me pull up my list. All right.
I
Seth,
don't know,
where do you
man.
put this
Whatever
on
the
your
fuck you
stupid
want. This list doesn't mean anything anymore. I got this sucker randomly above Avengers Endgame, below Spider-Man 3 for fuck knows why. I liked it because Endgame sucked, and Spider-Man 3 was better than Endgame, and I guess this is something I'll never watch ever again either, but I'll just watch it maybe more than Endgame and less than Spider-Man 3. It's a mess. There's fun bits in it. It's not terrible. It's just kind of like a thing that exists. I thought about putting it near Blade, because Blade is also a thing that just exists. But for whatever reason, I said, I don't know, Blade is an hour and a half, and it's Wesley Snipes doing stupid crap.
So I put this at 15, below What If and above Hawkeye, which is weird because it is worse than Hawkeye. Hawkeye, I think, is a solid show overall that just like has a lot of messy, extraneous MCU shit and an ending.
There's
that
a lot
doesn't
of
really
stuff
come
going
together.
for Moon Knight.
Moon Knight has a lot of like fun individual pieces. All of them are done poorly, but on the complete opposite end, Hawkeye is a decent to good show with a messy end, like a messy final 2 episodes. Moon Knight is a messy garbage,
Human being.
like dumpster fire of a show with an ending that I thought was really fun up until like the final moments where they tried to do a gotcha. But like, I think the giant god battle and the stupid fight, like superhero fight at the end, was fun enough for me to be like, I think I liked the final episode. And there's like individual things in other episodes that I thought were fine. It doesn't really deserve its place, but that's where it is. Because I'm going to be honest, I think Moon Knight might be the worst Marvel show. Like, Loki's bad, but at least like I can look at Loki and go, there's a point to it. I don't like that point. I don't think it's good, but like I can see the purpose it's trying to serve. But Moon Knight just felt like I said at the beginning, cut all the extra shit out and just make a movie, or actually do stuff with the shit you're throwing in and make a real series. But this like 6 episode crap ain't cutting it. Because this is so long. Like the 2nd and 3rd episodes don't even need to be here. They serve no purpose. If you're going to make a 6-hour show, utilize the 6 hours for all the shit that they put in the back end. Utilize it for the shit with Layla, so she's not just a reveal. Utilize it for the shit with the multiple personalities and the psych ward crap, and like diving into the 2 different Moon Knights and how they have different suits. Like, it doesn't do any of that shit. It explains nothing. It just throws everything out there and then gives you a couple answers to a couple things late in the game and just shrugs its shoulders and goes, it's time for fight now. And then I saw the fight and I was like, giant gods is fun. Yay. But then I didn't like it. Anyway.
Thanks for hanging out with us. If you like this, tell a friend. If you didn't, then lie to a friend. Check us out on Twitter at SoHowAbout. You can find me on Twitter at SethKumpf. You can find Andrew on Twitter at TessuDownist. And subscribe to us on YouTube at SoHowAbout.
And join us next time when we do this once more with interference.
Watcher. Boop.
Seth, now that the mics are off, what are we watching next week? Next time?
Well,
Next whenever?
I'm glad you clarified,
Sunday.
because you're taking me to see Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And it's gonna be a doozy. I got nothing. I had a thing and I went on autopilot and I ditched it.
We're going into a dark theater
Yeah,
with
you're going to take me to a
strangers
dark
watch.
theater with strangers. When I bought my ticket, there was like only 4 seats taken. And I thought everybody wanted to go see Multiverse of Madness.
It was mostly empty when I bought it. There were only like a handful taken.
That's because everyone's seeing it tonight. Everyone who cares.
Not me. Not me. Can't wait to accidentally get bored on Saturday and stumble across a spoiler.